Hello everyone. I have been messing around with some simple mixed media techniques, and I started a new playlist with some short videos. There is a link at the end of the video for the playlist, and there's also a link in the description box below. But I've been having a lot of fun getting out my tools and supplies that I've got around that I haven't used in quite a while. So I pulled out this blank book. It is a simple one, 5 by 5, 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. It's just a simple blank book that I bought at Walmart. And it's one of those things where I've been having so much fun just doing one something to the page and then letting it dry, go someplace else, doing one something. I am using up paint so I don't waste it, cleaning off brushes, cleaning stencils and stamps. Here's some walnut ink. These are just little experiments that I have been doing. And like I said, I do one thing to the page and then move on. And I'm finding it very interesting to go back when I've done a couple of things to each page and see, the color combinations or what's happened. And it's not great paper, so some of the things are bleeding into the next page, which is fine. I'm not really concerned. So the whole idea for the whole book was a place to use up paint so I don't waste it, to clean off brushes, all that stuff, and to just have a place to test things out. Here's some soft pastels. I wanted to see how dark the color was. I wanted to see if it smeared, if it blended. I wanted, what's going on with that. And sometimes I add water to see what happens. Just little experiments. Of course, some of the pages are not done at all. And, some of the pages I've done more than one or two things on, 3 things on this one. This one I was stamping some bits of paper, so the stamps are not complete. And then I must have cleaned off a watercolor brush, a brush that I was using for watercolor. And then I did some circles, and I collaged this little bit on there. I think it's cool. I'm just fascinated with how the book is turning out. Of course, there are pages that still need a bunch of something. So I'm testing out my supplies, seeing what I have, seeing how they work, seeing how I can use them in different ways, and cleaning off stamps. These are handmade foam stamps that I made. Stenciling. I had another piece of paper that I was painting. And so it's a catch-all. Here's a brayer that I cleaned off. And I'm really, this ink pad bled through. I'm just having a lot of fun with the simple techniques, just messing around with my supplies. There's a lot of blank pages in this little area. Doodling, getting some pens out and actually seeing if they work. This one's Stabilo All Pencil in blue. I love the color of that. And I just did some little circles and then used a paintbrush with some white acrylic paint on the top to smear them a little bit. I think it's cool, and it'll be fun as I continue to use this to see the layers put together and putting other things on top. Here I was testing a stamp pad to see if it would actually leave any marks, and it dried up as I was using it. And then acrylic paint with one of my handmade stamps. But I find it really fun to see how different techniques get layered and how interesting they are. Here's a pen that I did some circles, misted it with water, and they bled a little bit. And this is watercolor on a stencil. I was doing a video and had the stencil was still wet with the watercolor, so I just put it in here. And look how cool it is. Dripping watercolor and scraping off paint off a card. Coloring with, getting the paint off of paintbrush, so I'm not wasting it down the drain. Here's a dauber. Using up some paint again in a different way. And so I'm doing these shorts with just simple techniques. I love, this is a Stabilo All pencil. I love circles and grids. Just love them. This one I did the little tiny circles, misted it with a little bit of water, I think, and then put some metallic watercolor over the top. Or I might have just used a paintbrush and used a metallic on top, and it kind of, the Stabilo All pencil activated and kind of bled a little bit. But I just love it. I'm afraid to do anything else to this page because it'll mess that up. And it gets wet a little bit, it'll get all messed up. But I'm just fascinated with simple techniques put on top of each other and how fun they are. I have been something like this where I've had some watercolor paint. This is a pearlescent paint that I have. I put it, clean off my brush on the page, and then put some bubble wrap on this side and a mesh on this side and let it dry. And you can see the designs that it left. I will do this and let it dry overnight, and then I get up in the morning and I'm surprised. It's a fun little surprise each morning. What happened? Do I like it? What kind of color is there? What happened? So it's fun to wake up in the morning and see what happened and how it turned out. So it's been kind of fun. It's always a surprise. Some acrylic inks that I had on a brush. Shimmer. I did put some collage on the pages. And so a lot of these pages need something. Here I watercolor sprayed, put some watercolor in a spray bottle and sprayed over a cross-stitch mesh. It's really cool. And it will be even more interesting when I put other things on top of it. Another mesh that I painted through. Some paint, a homemade stamp, and I glued on these little tiny squares of paper just to see if they would stick. And they did. It's just interesting to me. And here I was testing, and what color paint is this? And it was really, it's a kind of, it looks yellow in the video, but it's more green. It looks kind of yucky, and I wasn't in the mood to do anything with that kind of green that day, so this was just an experiment to see what color that acrylic paint was. Some watercolor drips. I had some watercolor left over, and it just dripped it on the page, and it bled out to the next page, which is fine. Some bubble wrap with watercolor paint. Just painted the watercolor on the bubble wrap. And so the shorts are just these quick little techniques. Easy to do with supplies you probably have. I have been having a lot of fun, looking at my supplies, and I haven't used that in how many years. I wonder if that's still good. I wonder if this pen works. And just messing around. It's been so relaxing and so much fun to see what happens. And I've just been fascinated. So I've done a few of the videos, and like I said, there's a link at the end of the video if you want to go see some of these techniques and try them out. It's so much fun just to mess around with not an intention of getting a art journal page done. It's more of a getting into the process of playing, and who cares what it turns out to be. I'm not doing this so that I have something to post somewhere. I'm doing it mostly just to have fun with the process. And I hope that you all, this is Stabilo All pencil and some splattered, I think it's watercolor, metallic watercolor on top. I wanted to see the color. I wanted to see how it's splattered. It's been really fascinating for me just to mess around and see what happens with simple techniques. So the whole idea of this book, the reason I even got the book, was to not do a whole art journal page in one sitting. It was to do something and move on and do something on a different page and move on, and then maybe do something on a page that does have something. Unexpected results are what's happening. Instead of me trying to make a pretty page, it's more of an experiment to see what happens. And I am really enjoying the process and enjoying the results. I can't plan these kinds of things. It's fun to see what happens and just let it be what it's going to be, and keep layering things on top to create interesting pages without planning and without fussing about it. And and there'll be pages like that one where I'm really happy with this just the way it is. I don't want to add anything to it at this point, but maybe later on I will. And it'll be fun when I finally get something on all the pages and I layer up more than one technique together and do some doodling, I suppose, and other things. I look forward to using this book a little bit more. I wanted to show you what it looked like in the beginning so you can see I'm not talking about anything special. Some scraped paint, some splattered paint, cleaning off stencils, cleaning off stamps. Nothing special, but they turn out very interesting in the end. So I just wanted to share what it looks like now, and I will bring it back when I've done some more stuff in it. Thanks for watching.